Hello and welcome to this episode of the Print on Demand Playbook Podcast. I'm your host, Adrian Von Arx, and in this episode, I'm going to be discussing one of my absolute favorite topics to talk about and to teach, and that is Instagram marketing for print on demand and apparel brands. I'll be discussing why I believe Instagram is the best marketing channel for print on demand businesses right now. I'm going to be sharing 3 effective strategies you can implement right away to attract your target audience, build a following of raving fans, and convert your followers into paying customers. And be sure to stick around until the end because I'm going to be ending this episode with a number of pro tips because I want to see you win. I want to see all of you win. But first, real quick, before we begin, if you haven't already, please be sure to subscribe to the podcast or to our YouTube channel where we also publish our episodes, which you can find in the show notes below. It helps us reach new listeners and it helps you never miss an episode. Everybody wins. So with that, thank you so much in advance. We really appreciate each and every one of you. And now let's jump in. What's up, guys? Adrian here. And in today's episode, we are talking about one of my absolute favorite topics, and that is Instagram marketing for print on demand and apparel brands. So we're going to talk about why I believe that Instagram is the best marketing channel today for print on demand and apparel brands. I'm going to share with you effective strategies that you can implement right away to attract your ideal target audience, build a following of raving fans, and convert your followers into paying customers. I've also got a pro tip for you at the end, so make sure you listen until the end. But real quick, before that, there's a couple things I want to get through. First of all, I am super excited at the time of this recording. First of all, because it's Black Friday. Happy Black Friday, everyone. But I'm even more excited because as of today, Friday, November 24th, I've opened up 10 spots for my beginner coaching program, T-Shirt Legends Academy. I've been working on this program for over a year. I'm always adding more to the program. I actually just added an entire mini course on Instagram marketing for apparel brands this week. And although TLA is not officially launching until next year, until 2024, I did want to offer exclusive early access for a few of our VIPs like you, our amazing listeners. So a few things to note, we've only opened up 10 slots just because that's all the bandwidth Carlson and I have right now. It's first come, first serve to join. So as soon as those 10 slots are booked up, it's done. We close the enrollment. And the program will be closed. Enrollment in the program will be closed for the rest of the year. So if you are interested in claiming one of those 10 spots, DM me on Instagram as soon as possible at Ecom Legends Academy. The link to my Instagram is also below in the show notes. And once I get that DM from you, I'll send you more details if there are any spots available. Now, just before we jump into the main event, of course, I got to shout out one of our incredible listeners because it really does mean a lot to us when our listeners take the time to open up the Apple Podcast app or wherever you are listening from and leave a review. Like, it really does mean a lot to us, and we're so grateful. That's why we always want to acknowledge you and shout you out. So this review is coming from Rel Ferris 04. Not sure if I said that right. And he says, or she, I don't actually know if it's he or she. Hello, gentlemen. Loving the podcast, eating up every episode and keep coming back for more. Your information is always on point and has really helped with getting me moving on a business I've been thinking about for 10 years. Rather surreal too, as the business I've been thinking about and coaching for 10 years is pickleball. Amazing niche, by the way. Thanks for making the future feel meant to be. Man, that is so exciting. I am so glad that after 10 years, you're taking action. I would have loved to see you taking action earlier, but you know what? Everyone's at different places in their life. I'm just happy that this was what kind of helped, catalyze your action taking. and I wish you all the best. So thank you so much for the kind 5-star review. We really appreciate it. Thank you, everyone that leaves us reviews. We absolutely love shouting them out. So if you wouldn't mind, if you are enjoying the podcast, if you wouldn't mind leaving us a review, we would be very grateful. Thank you in advance. And now let's just transition into the main event. So I want to break down, I'm actually so excited to talk about this episode. I love talking about this topic so much. And that's because Instagram has completely transformed my business, my life, and a lot of my students' businesses as well. So what I want to do is I want to break this down into 3 parts. First, I want to explain why I believe Instagram is the best marketing channel for print-on-demand businesses right now. I want to talk about 3 effective strategies that you can implement right away to attract your ideal customer, build a following of raving fans, and convert your followers into paying customers. And then I want to share this pro tip with you at the end. So let's jump into sort of the meat of things here. And what I want to do is I just want to start by talking about the power of Instagram marketing. So when it comes to free social media marketing, that's going to be the focus of this episode, free social media marketing on Instagram. So when it comes to the power of free social media marketing, you have a lot of options. You got Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, Pinterest, the list just goes on and on. But my strong recommendation is to focus the majority of your energy on dominating just one of these channels. And my personal favorite is Instagram. So social media channels, what I call rented platforms, because we don't own our following on there. These are very good for acquiring customers. So it's great for attracting people, attracting our ideal customer, building up our following, and then turning them into loyal fans and paying customers. But I want to explain why I think Instagram is the best. It's my personal favorite and why I think it's the best right now. So having made over $2.5 million selling t-shirts and apparel online, I've personally experienced the power and effectiveness of free Instagram marketing myself. And I've seen this platform transform many of our students' businesses as well. Instagram has over 2 billion monthly active users. And according to a study, people surveyed said that Instagram is the #1 place to keep up with their favorite brands compared to other platforms. That's huge. Not only that, a whopping 90% of accounts on Instagram are following a business profile. 9 out of 10 accounts are following a business profile, and over 70% of Instagram users report that Instagram posts have affected purchasing decisions. Maybe you're one of those people. I am absolutely one of those people, and I know a lot of other people who are like that too. So now that you have an understanding of the power of Instagram as a free marketing channel, let's talk about some effective strategies. There's actually so many, but I'm just going to be sharing 3 effective strategies that you can implement right away to attract your ideal customer, build that following of raving fans, and then convert your followers into customers. So let's just jump right in. Number 1 is optimizing your Instagram bio for growth. There are so many ways to do this, but some of the most important, in my opinion, include, first of all, adding a high quality image of your brand's logo as your profile photo. So make sure that it's not blurry, it's not pixelated, it's not really, really tiny or really, really big where some of the logo is hidden. Just make sure it's a nice, clean, high quality image of your brand's logo as your profile photo. Next, You want to explain your brand in 1 to 2 sentences. So talk about ideally 1 sentence because you've only got a certain number of characters for your bio. So if you can sum it up in 1 sentence here, that's beautiful. Talk about who you are, what you do, and why it matters. Like, why does your brand exist? Who's your brand created for? And why should they follow and or purchase from you? Another thing I really recommend is to state any differentiators. So you probably have some differentiators. Maybe your niche is your differentiator. That is a huge differentiator. But a lot of brands, they do have differentiators. Maybe you donate a portion of proceeds to charity. Maybe you offer a lot of value to people in that particular niche. This is a great opportunity to state any differentiators, but keep them really short and sweet. Next, always include a call to action button such as shop now. And then what you want to do is you want to include a call to action link below the call to action to direct people to where you want to direct them, which is usually your website. What I like to do is I also like to leverage emojis to show personality and draw the eye to your bio and the link to your website. So really what we want to do is we want to get people finding out all about our brand, what we're all about, and get them shopping to our website where ideally we can offer them an incentive to collect their email address, and then we can start marketing to them via email. So then we've got 2 channels, right? You've got your primary acquisition channel, which is Instagram. And then once you collect their email, you've also got a primary retention channel, which is email marketing. Now, a lot of people, they're not gonna buy the first time that they visit a website. Statistically speaking, most people do not buy the first time they go to a website. That is why it's so important that we can continue marketing to them. So this way we have 2 channels where we can market to them. Through email, we can introduce them to our brand. We can get them to follow us wherever we want them to follow us. And we can show them some of our amazing products that hopefully really resonate with them. So that is number 1, really focus on optimizing your Instagram bio for growth. This is a big opportunity. I see a lot of print on demand and apparel brands on Instagram, and I just feel like this is a big opportunity that a lot are kind of missing out on, or their bio just isn't really optimized. I've seen some that don't have a call to action, that don't have a call to action link, like a link to the best sellers on their website or something like that. This stuff is so important. People, there's so much going on social media. It is very distracting, and people kind of need to be like guided into what they should do. And this is why it's so important that you have that call to action, then you have that link to your website. We want to make it as easy as possible for people to shop and to buy. So let's talk about number 2. So step number 2 is to post a mix of value posts and product posts. So value posts are essentially non-product posts, but content that offers value to your ideal customer. So if you are in the hiking niche, then you want to offer value to hiking enthusiasts. And what you can do is you can research other successful brands in the hiking niche, you can get ideas, and then you can post content similar to that. But I'm going to come back to that in a bit. So back to posting a mix of value posts and product posts. It is very challenging to grow an account by just posting product posts. You have to give people a reason to follow you. Post valuable content in the form of entertainment, education, or inspiration that evokes emotion and relatability to attract your ideal customer. So the way I like to think of it is you want to have an intention behind every post. So what's the intention of a value post? Well, In most cases, it's to grow your following. So you're trying to offer value to someone who is passionate about your niche, someone who identifies with your niche, so that they start following you. And what's great about that is if you can keep offering them value, they're going to love following you. But you can also then showcase some of your products to them, and they are going to be probably pretty pumped to see some of your products if they evoke emotion and relatability in your niche. So, like I said, you want to make sure that value content is really kind of falls into one of three categories: entertainment, education, or inspiration. And just like we want to create designs that evoke emotion and relatability for ideal customer, we also want to create content that evokes emotion and relatability for our ideal customer. So, what I generally recommend is it's totally okay to post products, but I do encourage you to add product posts. I absolutely encourage it, but I recommend leaning more heavily into value posts if you want to grow your account, especially if you are a new or a smaller account. So, going back to the intention behind each post, the intention behind a value post is growth. We want to attract our ideal customer and we want to build up our following. So we want to get on the recommendations algorithm. We want Instagram to push our content out to more of our ideal customers so that they can discover us and start following us. That way, we can build up that loyalty, we can continue offering them value, and then we can also sprinkle in products that will hopefully evoke emotion relatability for them. So the intention of the value post is growth, and the intention of the product post is sales in most cases. It is sales. So this is why we want to lean heavily more into growth, and why I recommend that you make the majority of your posts value posts and then sprinkle in some of your product posts. I love sprinkling in product posts because one, it shows them that you have something to sell. It shows them that you're a brand, and it shows your followers products that hopefully really resonate with them. Now, if you are going to post product posts, please do this. Please post high quality, attractive lifestyle imagery instead of boring print on demand mockups. I see this so often and it kills me a little bit inside because I look at a lot of brands' Instagram. I do a lot of Instagram audits on brands. And one thing I notice is that a lot of brands, all they do is post their products. And I'm telling you right now, that is a very tough way to grow your Instagram. It's very tough. Most people don't follow accounts that just post their products unless it's a very established brand like the Supremes, the Louis Vuittons, these big household names that everyone knows and loves. People will follow those brands because they know who they are and they can get away with just posting products. But when we're trying to get our name out there and when we're trying to grow our audience, no one's going to care about the brand until we've given them a reason to care about the brand. And this is why I always recommend leaning more heavily into value posts and then sprinkling in some product posts, but just make sure that they're high quality, attractive lifestyle imagery. Or it could be a flat lay. I really like Mockups from Etsy. That's my personal favorite platform to get mockups. I think that a lot of them are very high converting. I've had a lot of success with those mockups, but there's other places you can get them as too, like Place It and Smart Mockups. But what I see most of the time is brands, all they do is post their products and all they do is post mockups from their print on demand. And they're kind of scratching their heads and wondering why their account isn't growing. Well, my first instinct is, well, of course, you're not giving someone a reason to follow you. You need to offer them value and show them why they should follow you. Think about yourself. How many newer brands do you follow that only post their products and post, very granola mock-ups from print on demand providers? You probably don't follow any. And it's because they haven't attracted you by giving you a reason to follow them. So, just summing this up, lead with value. Like, post a lot of value posts that evoke emotion and relatability, and then sprinkle in product posts, but just make sure that the product posts are aligned with your brand and your image, with your aesthetic, and try to avoid using the print on demand mockups, because let's be honest, everyone's using them. We see them all over the place, and they're not good. They're not that good. I'm pretty sure I've never had a six-figure ad come from a print on demand mockup. It's always come from a third party. It's always come from an Etsy mockup or a Placeit mockup or a Smart Mockups mockup, something like that. So there are a lot better options out there. And this is hopefully going to resonate with your ideal target audience as well. It's going to make your designs pop. It's going to give you an opportunity to showcase people in the mockups wearing the product or the design that actually look like your ideal customer. And it's going to significantly increase the chance that they're going to see that product and say, I want that. And that they're going to go to your website and they're going to complete a purchase. All right, moving on to tip number 3. This is consistency. And what I mean specifically is to post consistently on Instagram. You can learn all the best tips, tricks, and hacks, but if you are inconsistent with your posting, they will not work. This is so important, which is probably why you hear coaches and others preaching this so much. They're always preaching consistency, right? Consistency is hands down, in my opinion, one of the most critical steps to growing both your social media and your brand, which is why it's so important to commit to remaining consistent and have a long-term strategy, a long-term content strategy in place to keep you posting regularly. So what I recommend is aim to post at least once per day to your feed and a minimum of once per day to your stories. In a perfect world, of course, that would be great if we could post 2 to 3 times a day to our feed and 3 to 5 times to our stories. But let's be honest, we're all busy. We've all got limited bandwidth. And so this is where I recommend that most people start. Also, if you want to save a ton of time and significantly improve your chances of posting consistently, I recommend first setting aside 1 day per month for batch content creation for 30 days at a time. So what I would do is I would pick a day and I would allocate that day to batch creating 30 pieces of content in that day. And then I would put those in a folder for me to schedule out. So that's tip number 1. Batch create your content, set aside 1 day per month. It should never take more than 1 day. Some people can do it in a couple of hours. Some people might even be able to do it quicker. But what's nice about this is that you're putting in the work all up front. Your headspace, your mindset is all focused on content creation. And so what I find is that this just saves me ridiculous amounts of time by batching this into one block of time, as opposed to doing this every single day, trying to create an original piece of content every single day, especially when you're feeling uninspired and you're feeling kind of a creator's block. So first, set aside 1 day per month for batch content creation for 30 pieces of content. And number 2 is either schedule your content out automatically. So schedule it out so it automatically posts 1 post per day for the next 30 days, or have a time set aside in your calendar every day to post. So what you could do is you could have a recurring event in your calendar every day at the same time. You allocate 15 minutes. If you need a little bit more, allocate a period of time that you go in and you post one of these 30 pieces of content. These habits just keep you really consistent, and the algorithm loves consistency. Your followers are going to love it too, because if you're offering them a lot of value, they're going to look forward to your posts every day. All right, now for the pro tip. This is big. Make time, I should say, every single month to research your competitors' most viral content and use it as inspiration to create your own value posts. This is huge. So, like I said earlier, just like we want to create designs that evoke emotion and relatability for ideal customer, we also want to create content that evokes emotion and relatability for our ideal customer. And one of the surest ways to do this is to find content that's already winning and use it as inspiration to create our own. So, a quote that I say all the time is success leaves clues. So, what we can do is by validating that a piece of content performed well for your ideal customer on another page, let's say it's one of your competitors' Instagram page, it's very likely that it's also going to perform well for you also. So what we can do is we can reverse engineer the virality of that post, or what we can do is we can just simply use it as inspiration to create very similar content. Now, another thing that I will say is that a lot of brands' value posts is literally just content from other creators that is shared on their Instagram page, and you can do this too. So maybe you go on one of your competitors' pages. So one Instagram page that's really active, that they do such a good job of creating viral style content, is I Heart Dogs. I love their Instagram page. You can go on there, you can see they've got a ton of viral posts. So if I was in the dog niche, what I would do is I would be following I Heart Dogs, and then at least once a month, I would be going onto their page and I would be looking for their most viral style content and find a way that I can create something very similar with my own branding. What I like about that is first of all, you get to create it in your own aesthetic. So your own brand colors, you can put your logo or your Instagram handle on it. But what I also like about that is if it does go viral and gets shared, then all the people seeing that shared piece of content are going to see your brand on there. And there's a high likelihood that they're going to find your brand, they're going to go to your brand. Many of the people sharing that post, a link to your brand will be on there, and they're going to start following you. And so what I noticed about brands like I Heart Dogs is a lot of times they're just sharing viral style content from other creators and then giving the creator credit as the original creator for that post. And you can do the same thing. So I do want to kind of really stress that if you are going to share viral style content on your Instagram, make sure that you're always giving credit to the original creator. But this is a very good way to post content that is validated and is proven to evoke emotion and relatability for your niche if you're getting it from one of your competitors' pages. But another thing I like to do is let's just call this a second pro tip. I just love talking about this so much. I could talk about this all day. But another pro tip that I really like is to actually find viral style content on other brands or even like meme pages that aren't even related to my niche, and to repurpose that to my niche. So let's say, going back to the dog example, let's say you're in the dog niche and you follow a viral style or you follow a cat, a really popular cat page on Instagram. Maybe it's a brand, maybe it's just an interest page, maybe it's a meme page. Whatever it is, let's say that it's very big and that they get a lot of engagement. What you can do is you can go and look at their most viral style content and you can repurpose that for your niche. So let's say that I always use this design example because it always comes to my mind. But if you were on the cat page and it said, cats make me happy, you not so much, and that didn't already exist on a dog, if that didn't already exist in the dog niche, which I know it does for a fact, but I'm just saying, let's say it didn't. What you could do is you could take that viral style quote that went viral for the cat niche and you could repurpose that and turn it into a totally original quote or turn that into a totally original design. So here's another thing. Oh man, I just keep thinking of stuff I want to share. All right, so here's another pro tip. We're calling this the third pro tip. If you post an original quote, like let's say you do that, you repurpose a viral style quote from another niche and you make it totally original. Like you take out the word cat and you put your niche in there and it doesn't exist anywhere else. And you post that quote and it goes viral on your Instagram page. Do me a favor, do yourself a favor, and put that on products ASAP. Put that on products ASAP, because here's the thing. A lot of times when content goes viral on social media, like let's say a viral quote, a lot of times that also sells very well. Why? Well, let's bring this back to what I was talking about earlier, creating content that evokes emotion and relatability for your ideal customer, and similarly, creating products that evoke emotion and relatability for your ideal customer. So if this content, if this quote invoked a lot of emotion and relatability, there's a very good chance that it's going to do the same on a product and that a lot of people are going to buy it, they're going to wear it, and they're going to be excited to get it, especially if it's totally original. So, that was a lot. I only expected to talk about one pro tip, but things just kept coming, and I just really love this topic so much. In case you can't tell, I'm very passionate about Instagram marketing for print on demand or apparel brands. I've had a lot of success with this personally. A lot of my students have had a lot of success. And this, of all my students, this is the most popular primary acquisition channel. So this is the most popular platform that my students choose to dominate, to really go all in on to grow their brand. So what they usually do is they use Instagram is what I call the primary acquisition channel. So this is the rented platform where they build up an audience, introduce people that are passionate about their niche to their brand, and then as their primary retention channel, so this is their kind of secondary platform, I call it a primary retention channel. This is also an owned platform. They use email marketing. And what I like to really stress is that to create a successful brand, to get to 6 figures or even 7 figures, you only need to dominate one primary platform, one acquisition channel, like social media, like Instagram, for example, and dominate just one retention channel or an owned platform like email marketing. These two together create magic, and you can have a ton of success with just these two platforms. So I hope you guys learned a lot in this lesson. I hope you found it valuable. If you have any questions, always hit me up in the DMs on Instagram at Ecom Legends Academy. Again, the link to my Instagram is below. I love talking about this stuff. I could talk about it all day. Like I mentioned earlier, I just released an entire mini course specifically on Instagram marketing for print on demand and apparel brands. And the reason why I did that is because when I was trying to learn Instagram, I could not find any training specifically on Instagram marketing, like any thorough, in-depth training on Instagram marketing specifically for print on demand and apparel brands. So I had to learn all of my everything around Instagram. I had to learn from coaches in other areas. I could not find a coach in the print on demand and apparel space. So that is why I created it. So thank you so much for listening, everyone. We appreciate you guys. I hope you guys absolutely slay Black Friday. And I hope you guys get deals on Black Friday. And I also hope that you make a lot of sales on Black Friday. So thank you so much for listening. I appreciate all of you guys, and I'll talk to you guys very soon. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Print on Demand Playbook podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please help us out and leave us an honest review on whichever platform you're listening from. Thank you so much again, and we'll talk to you very soon.